Greetings, B-movie aficionados.
Hello, I am Tristan, and you guys can introduce yourselves.
Nick.
And Zach.
Yeah, this is Couple of Flicks. So since we're near the holidays, well, actually, wait, before we get into it, have either of you guys watched anything lately?
Last good thing I watched was Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right,
I
nice.
want to see that.
It's pretty cheap at Walmart right now. That's where I picked it up.
Yeah, no, I'm glad a lot of people are seeing that one. That's a really good movie. So, yeah, so that's the most recent thing you saw?
The most recent thing I saw was A Simple Favor.
Oh, okay.
But that was just okay. Yeah.
All right. What about you? Have you watched anything lately?
Yeah. I saw like a couple nights ago Game Night, which was a fun movie. I saw it before, and I like it. Game Night, you know that one.
I haven't seen it.
It's fun.
Is it like a murder mystery or something like that? Or?
Kinda. Yeah, that's the idea of it. It's a murder mystery that gets turned into a giant fiasco kind of thing.
Nice.
It's funny. It's good. But the most recent one I saw, I actually saw it today. Even it was like right after I needed a palate cleanser from these movies. I watched One Cut of the Dead.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
I don't think so.
I've heard of it.
It is amazing. Just simply put, like I watched it like this afternoon, and I'm still blown away by it. It was like fantastic.
One Cut of the Dead?
Yes, it's a Japanese film, so there's going to be some subtitles, but I don't want to give like anything away because you kind of have to go into it mostly blind. But the main draw to it, which is fine to say, is that the first 30 minutes are a one take, and it's like a one take zombie thing.
Okay.
That's why it's called One Cut of the Dead.
Yeah.
It's done all in one cut, and I love anything in one cut. But then just where the movie takes it after that is just I fell in love with that movie. It's so good. It's unexpected too, and you just like it blows your mind at the end. Like
sounds awesome.
Just gotta go watch it. Yeah.
All right. Well, besides all these things that we have chosen to watch for this episode, outside of those, I watched The Fanatic. Because I knew I was gonna. I knew I was gonna see it anyway. So I figured may as well just get it out of the way. And yeah, it wasn't good. So. But I actually thought John Travolta did a pretty okay job in it. Like
that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Decent.
Yeah.
With shit.
It was. You could tell it wasn't very well thought out. Like I don't know. There's not very much to it. It's pretty bad. But I don't know. I liked the performance though. I'll give it that. So
okay.
Yeah. So that's the most recent thing I saw aside from these things. So these films. So since it's near Thanksgiving, it's like the Thanksgiving week. Kind of decided to, along with the films that we chose previously, we also chose to watch a Thanksgiving horror film, or Thanksgiving themed horror film called Thankskilling, which I hadn't seen before, but I'd heard about it. So, and yeah, there's not that many Thanksgiving horror movies, so that's the one we went with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had either of you seen this one before?
No.
I had.
Nice.
And I gotta say, it is not as good as I remember.
Oh man.
Yeah. So share your thoughts.
I mean, I liked the first scene. Like I saw Zach, you posted you were watching it, and like on the DVD cover it said the first frames are boobs or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, this is what we're gonna be getting into. And that was just the first scene of the turkey chasing down that nun. And then hard cut to the credits of like it was black and yellow, right? Like a black and yellow, like
Yeah, like a sepia type.
Yeah.
Almost.
I had to pause it during the credits because I was laughing so hard.
Yeah.
Isn't the first line like "nice tits, bitch"?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was so,
The
like,
talking turkey.
that was the best part of the film.
Yeah.
Hands down. Like it was like even just the best acting of the film.
I mean, it was pretty much the main reason to see it was the turkey.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
the turkey, like that's basically what sells it. You know.
Yeah.
So he's the best character in the film. He's certainly the most likable. Yeah, he's pretty much the only character you even halfway care about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, this is, it was, I mean, you could pretty much tell that it was made by like sort of a group of friends who, were really into this idea of making this goofy killer turkey movie, and, kudos to them for fulfilling their vision, I mean, I suppose it's inspiring in a certain way, Admittedly, the novelty of it kind of wore off for me after about 20 minutes, but luckily it was short.
Yeah, that's the first thing I always check when we're watching these movies. Like every single time, I say, "What's the runtime on this?"
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Some of them, if they're short, if it's like a short runtime, you can pretty much come to the conclusion that it's probably not going to be anything too spectacular.
But it's also the ones I'm more looking forward to. So
Yeah.
Jeff myself with something an hour and a half of
Yeah, because
pain.
sometimes like things that like there's certain films that are feature length that really shouldn't even be longer than 30 minutes.
I mean, this shouldn't have been longer than 30 minutes. Either.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It
Like,
kind of
I feel they could just cut out all like most of like the turkey stuff, put it on I don't know YouTube or something, get more money than what I'm assuming they're getting.
right, because the characters. I mean, you don't give a crap about any of them. I mean,
No.
I like how they tried to do that flashback with the football guy and his dad.
yeah,
It was a flashback, and then I was like, "What the fuck?"
yeah.
It's so cringy and bad.
Yeah. I mean, it was charming of them to throw it in, but it ultimately ended up being kind of unnecessary, I mean, the main reason we're watching this movie isn't to watch these characters we don't care about doing stuff that isn't
Yeah.
interesting. It's mainly to watch the killer turkey. So, on that front, I suppose, it'll give you what you're looking for, But-
they had to have thrown that stuff in just to pad the runtime, I'm assuming.
I mean, there wasn't much else to it.
Yeah. It barely made the hour mark.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, I mean, it was fine for what it was, for being a movie made by some college kids. I mean, I could certainly say I've seen worse. So
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I noticed the director was the turkey voice.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming this was all his idea. He just like found a turkey at like a Halloween shop and
Yeah.
just started fucking with his friends.
yeah, I remember when I was I don't know, it was sometime in the 90s. There was this show that I think it was on like the Family Channel or something called Bone Chillers, which was like a horror show, but it was made for like kids pretty much. And there was an episode about a killer turkey. So this isn't actually even the first killer turkey movie I've seen. Like,
Huh.
although that wasn't really a movie, it was an episode of a show. But I kind of feel like in a way maybe this was like inspired by that a little bit. Although that turkey didn't talk.
I like all the expletives he would just throw out, because that was like what I always thought. He was doing the best acting job.
I mean,
Like, everyone else was just giving flat lines, but he was like going like, ah, shit, piss, fuck.
like half the dialogue was
So
expletives.
awesome.
Yeah.
So every line you would throw out, I was just laughing hard.
It's definitely shameless. I mean, I think aside from the turkey, I mean, I guess the only other character I liked was the hunter, and that's only because he made me laugh. I mean,
Yeah.
I liked the little bit where the girl's dad was drinking coffee.
oh yeah,
And she's like, "Oh, this tastes like shit." And the wife said, "Yeah, that's because I took a shit. I want a divorce."
that was pretty funny. I think, yeah, I mean, and now, okay, what was the sex scene like?
Oh,
That was one of the more unusual ones. Like that one was kind of reminded me of like Jack Frost a little bit from the 90s. The bathtub scene in that kind of reminded me of that a little bit. It's, just pretty messed up.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was fucking weird.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of people. I knew people because I used to live in Kansas. I knew some people that liked this movie there. So, although I don't think they'd ever seen it sober. So
That helps.
yeah, I mean, so I don't know. Overall, like it's the kind of movie that it is. I mean, I think its audience knows who it is, so
Yeah.
now there is a follow-up.
Yep.
Yeah, have you seen that one?
I have.
Okay. I decided to watch that one as well after I saw this.
I didn't see it.
Yeah,
I saw that there was one.
One was enough in my opinion.
That's what I
yeah.
thought.
I don't even remember half of the second one.
Yeah. It's not very memorable. Like
No. It's just more puppets.
yeah, which the puppetry isn't even that good anyway. It kind of thrives on how cheap looking it is, so but overall I think, I'd probably I mean 1 out of 5 in my opinion. That's what I would give it. I'd say for fans of killer Thanksgiving turkey movies only.
So
Yeah.
are you doing out of this schlocky type movies, like the B movies we're going through? One.
Yeah. I mean, just in general, like it's whatever you feel like giving it. Like on a scale of 1 to 5, how much you enjoyed it.
I'd give it a 3 at least.
Nice.
Just because it's an hour long.
Yeah.
And I was just busting up laughing for a good chunk of it.
Yeah.
So it's.
I was sober. I was dead sober when I watched it, so
Yeah.
maybe that didn't do me any favors, So,
Yeah, I'll also give it a 1.
I mean, I'll say I had the most laughs per minute in this out of all the movies so far I've done on.
yeah.
Yeah. I definitely enjoyed it a lot more my first time watching it. But
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, overall, I enjoyed it enough. I just kind of got tired of it, after a while. It's once the idea of it wore off, I was like, nice, But then it ended, so. All right, so now we're gonna talk about the films that we all chose. So, and let's go with your choice first.
All right, I chose Hard Ticket to Hawaii. And I just chose this again randomly, but then I kind of figured out which movie this was, and I had heard of it, and so I maybe subconsciously chose it because I don't know, a few years ago that GIF of the frisbee scene went viral or whatever, and that's where I recognized it from, because they show like a normal frisbee scene real early on, and I was like, oh, it's this movie. Okay, now I know what I chose. All right. But yeah, it is like an 80s, shtick schlock. Spy, I guess. That would be
Spy espionage.
Yeah, type movie where there's lots of boobs and not a lot of sense to be made out of the movie itself. And then there's also that subplot of a cancer-filled snake running around.
Cancerous rats.
Yeah, it ate cancerous rats, so it has only 36 hours to live, but if it bites you, you'll get cancer and die instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of bewildered by all the blonde mullets and like all the female characters in it looked the same to me. Like they all kind of had the same face and the same hair.
Yeah, I was confused.
I couldn't quite tell them apart.
3 of them. I had no idea, honestly, because there's one bad guy one, right?
Yeah.
I thought that may have been a traitor or something. I was like, wait, why is she going with them? What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it on YouTube on my big screen TV, so I couldn't really make out their faces.
Oh.
Yep. I watched it on YouTube too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is by, what's his name? Andy Sedaris. Andy Sedaris. And he puts posters for his own movies, all throughout this movie. So he's very proud of the fact that this is one of his. So,
yeah.
Isn't the boat named Malibu Express too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're all interconnected. It's like the Andy Sedaris world. So I loved it.
Yeah,
I thought
it was a good one.
It's a beautiful, beautiful movie. Like out of all the ones like that we're talking about on this episode, this one is my favorite. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I loved it so much that I watched it twice. Yeah. This did it for me. It was like one of those kind of crappy, weird sort of movies that they used to play like really late on like Stars or Cinemax or something, like those cheesy like 80s movies that aren't even that good. It was like one of those, only with all the highlights and nothing else. Like all the best scenes.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
put into one.
I was thoroughly entertained the entire time. That's for sure.
Yeah, the action was high caliber in its own way.
The bazooka usage was top notch.
Oh man.
Shooting people out of the air with the bazooka.
Yeah, that was some of the most skillful bazooka usage.
Hell yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
No, that was great. What a great character.
And I mean, also the bazooking the snake. It just blew the head off, clean off. Not the entire snake didn't blow up, just the head.
Yeah, it's like Andy Sedaris beat Van Damme to the punch as far as snake abuse goes in action movies. Because there's a Van Damme movie where he punches a snake in the face. In I think it was Hard Target. But in this one, Andy Sedaris, he literally blows. Oh, spoiler! He literally blows up a snake's head with a bazooka.
Shit, really?
Yeah, obviously not a real snake, but
Yeah, how about that snake prop?
Oh my god! It didn't even look like a snake. Really.
It looked like a fucking hand puppet.
I think it was a hand puppet.
Yeah.
And I loved how the girls reacted. The snake wait, what should, like, they look at the cage and it's like, the snake is missing. What happened?
There was this ADR in this shit too that I know.
Yeah.
Oh, the ADRing was hysterical.
Yeah, there was like that one scene with just like 2 goon henchmen. They lost something. I think it was when they lost the diamonds. They were just standing there. Their mouths weren't even moving. Like they weren't even saying something other. And it was like, oh, I dread, going to Seth with this. And he's like, yeah, me too. But their mouths were both shut.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was great. How about the theme song?
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, that's a beautiful theme
I
song.
don't know. I won't lie. Listened to like the first bit of it, but most of the montages skipped. Skipped. I got it. I got like a lot of the sex scenes. I was just like, okay, I'll see the boobs once. Skip. Don't have time for all that.
Well, I gotta hear somebody cover the theme song or so at some point. You know,
Yeah.
it's so catchy. You know, it's still in my head. It's like, no, it was a great theme song. You know, ticket to Hawaii. Oh my God, so beautiful. But yeah, okay, the sex scenes, like they, you know,
Copious.
I mean, I think this is the second movie we've watched now on this show where it was multiple people having sex in one room and not caring about the fact that or
did that happen in this one?
or maybe they were in a different room, but the scene was so badly edited that I couldn't
Yeah.
really tell.
Yeah.
Like,
You know what? Again, I did skip through most of it.
it was pretty awkward. Like they were like, they're
Because I
too-
watched the first one and it was just them kind of lying on top of each other. So I was like, okay, skip the rest of them.
yeah. I mean, there's not really much to say about them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It was, I mean, it was great, and I feel like I don't know who I would compare this kind of film to the films of. I mean, I don't know. I would say like maybe Russ Meyer, but I don't know. It doesn't have the same kind of atmosphere as those. This one, I don't know. This one's like pretty much more about like just the eye candy and all, and
Yeah.
basically just like all the cliches, but done in like a very flamboyant, colorful, sort of expressive way. You know, there's a lot of emotion going on. I mean, although often it is sort of misplaced, and doesn't really make a tremendous amount of sense. Often when the characters sort of react inexplicably to, I mean, I don't know, like the girls, like when they found the dead bodies of the people that'd been eaten by the snake, like they were just like, oh great, oh, like they were like annoyed by it. They weren't terrified or freaked out or anything like that. Like, they were more just like pissed off, like, no.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I loved the heck out of it.
One great quote I got from it. If brains were bird shit, you'd have a clean cage.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Oh, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that one. I really like that awkward radio interview with the football players. Like, that was hysterical. Oh man, the skateboarding scene. Oh man. Yeah.
Gotta have one of those.
Yeah. Well, the skateboarding in this movie wasn't quite as good as the skateboarding in the next movie we'll talk about, but you know, in a way, it was still interesting. You know.
I don't know what the character's name is, but the guy that got shot in the face, that fight at the end, it reminded me of an old Western movie. The way they were fighting,
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it was just so awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's almost like they're taking turns throwing punches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hard swings that don't come close to connecting.
Yeah, no, it's a classy movie, you know.
The only character name that I can remember is the guard that was named Shades.
Oh yeah, he was badass.
Yeah. Oh, it didn't seem too hard to get to Hawaii, so
Yeah.
Everyone made it there.
yeah,
Pretty easy.
yeah. Hawaii didn't even end up being the most important thing that happened. You know?
Yeah. Oh, I liked how the snake came out of the toilet.
That was
Just
epic.
blew that right out.
Yeah.
Can't have. And then the,
That was
and then the
incredible.
line too after she like got out and like closed the door or whatever. She got out of the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
Just when I thought it was safe to take a pee. Good one, lady.
You could tell like when he was writing the script or whatever, he just was coming up with like punchline after punchline, and he didn't even care if it sounded good or not.
Yeah,
And then the actors were on board with it. Like,
oh, speaking of punchlines, I forgot to go back real quick to Thankskilling.
oh yeah.
That joke, the John Benet Ramsey joke.
Oh yeah.
They used it twice.
They used it even more than twice, actually. Like they used it like 3 or 4 times.
And then you see like the second time they used it, they left out a take. They left in a take because they reset. You could totally tell they reset because they laughed and said, oh shit, you burned them. And then they reset as actors do. And then they did another like, oh shit, you burned them.
Oh my gosh. And they left it in the movie.
Yeah, they totally left that second take in.
So cheap. Oh.
Anyway, I just forgot about that. Had to mention it. Loved
it. Yeah. Well, Hard Ticket to Hawaii. Personally, I loved it. I'd probably watch it maybe 3 or 4 more times throughout my life. I'd already seen it, before this. But this just gave me the perfect excuse to watch it again. And yeah, I loved it. I think I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5, just because I can think of movies that are a lot like it that are better. But I still really liked it, and I would watch it again. So.
Yeah, I'd give it like a 4 probably out of a 5 for this genre of movies. I'd say it's like hits all the marks of the movies that you want to see if you're going to see a stupid, cheesy 80s flick. It's like probably on the top tier Mount Rushmore of cheesy, shitty movies
Most
you gotta
definitely.
watch.
It knows how bad it is.
Yeah,
it loves it.
definitely has the review value. You can watch it a couple times every couple years, and it'll still be fun, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I gave it a 2.5.
Yeah.
I need to watch it again, but preferably in a higher quality.
Yeah.
I think that was half my problem, but
Yeah.
In a way, it probably added to the cheapness.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So. Yeah. All right. So the next movie that we chose, it was your choice. So.
Yep. I chose Surf Nazis Must Die. Some good old Troma.
Yeah. And had you seen this one before?
I had, but I totally forgot it. Like everything about it. So there's like 2 plots, kind of.
Yeah.
Oh God, I loved one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. 2 plots.
So it was this supposed. I was confused. Is it post-apocalyptic?
The flash front card said in the near future. So for an 80s movie, it probably was set in 2005.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was like after some kind of earthquake that wrecked the city. I think that's what.
Oh, didn't they say it wrecked a lot? It came out during the movie. It wrecked a lot more than just. I was like
maybe
waiting it was something. Because I think at first they said yes, it did wreck this city. Yeah. And then they were saying, oh no, it wrecked everywhere too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it said that, but then they had like cars and people at a power plant and stuff. Like I was confused.
Yeah, for a movie set in the future, the cars were still 80s cars.
Yeah.
They didn't even try to make some futuristic looking set cars.
Nothing's been manufactured since 1983. It's like the movie Brazil.
Alright, so like one of the plots is the Nazi group trying to take control of the beach, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. That was like kind of reminded me of like a martial arts movie. But yeah.
Yeah. There's like that, and then like the warriors with all the different groups coming
that's
together.
exactly what I wrote down.
Yeah.
I did like the Warriors meets, well, not really meets Clockwork Orange, but the main Nazi guys were like dressed in Clockwork Orange gear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely reminded me of a surf version of the Warriors.
Yeah, like surfers and skateboarders.
Yeah.
And then the second plot is his grandma getting revenge from the Nazis killing her son.
Yeah.
I loved that.
That-
that was my favorite part.
That was definitely the better part. Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, I like that storyline, but I think it would have worked better as a blaxploitation
Yeah.
movie.
I think if like the whole film had kind of been more about that, it would have been really cool. Like if it were following her and what she was and her like pursuing them, like because of the two things that were going on, that was most definitely the more interesting plot. So
Yeah,
and it was
I
the more
wa-
entertaining plot too.
yeah, I wanted to see more of that.
Oh yeah, me too. It was actually pretty good, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. The rest of it, like I mean, I always kind of enjoy when movies have like some kind of authentic thing going on in them. And so this had some actual footage of real surfing and skating. Which
yeah, they drop in on, like they come in to attack on their surfboards.
yeah, and
Amphibious assault.
and like I thought that like that all that stuff looked cool, but I felt like it would have I don't know, it felt sort of I don't know. I don't. It didn't really add anything to like the movie.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I did again skip through all the surf scenes because they were long too. It was like
Yeah.
if you're a surfer, you'll get a kick out of this, but I did not. So I just like skipped for them surfing till they actually landed back on the beach.
Yeah. I mean the surfing scenes and the skating scenes, like I love those scenes. Those were my favorite scenes, but I didn't watch those. I didn't watch the movie for the surfing and the skating. I mean, I watched it for the actual like, you know, the whole like because it's a revenge movie, you know, and I watched it really more for that aspect of it, you know, and I don't know. I felt like that part of it was a bit muted, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. But as far as like these kind of like low budget movies go, I mean, I don't know. I like you could tell the people who made it like they were wearing their influences quite heavily on their sleeves. You know, the whole plot about the gangs and them trying to take over the beach location and stuff, like it did sort of follow like a martial arts formula in a way, or like one of those kind of odd like imports. But then all that kind of got brushed aside for the revenge plot, you know. So
Yeah, for the better.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was kind of funny how the entire Nazi like plan was thwarted basically because some kid got grounded.
Oh yeah.
like that was funny.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So
This is like I think your letterbox review. I agreed with it. Like you're saying, it's like the least Troma movie.
yeah.
Like it doesn't feel that much like a Troma movie. Like,
Yeah.
Kind of does, but not really.
I agree. Like it feels like too serious. I think, and it doesn't have like the same kind of quality like that their films have, where they tend to be really into the campy humor and the the wild visuals and the offbeat humor and stuff, like the Toxic Avenger and films like that, which have like an edge to them. And this didn't really have an edge to it. It was kind of just I don't know. It had sort of a basic quality to it, you know.
Yeah.
Which, like, I would imagine that like if you were maybe 9 or 10 years old, and you were just getting into like horror and exploitation films and revenge films and stuff, and like your older brother had a copy of like Surf Nazis Must Die on VHS, and they showed it to you, then like at that age it would probably come across as really intense and crazy, like, whoa, I've never seen anything this insane before, you know. But when you've watched a lot of these kind of movies, it kind of, you watch something like this and it feels a lot milder. So it's just kind of interesting to watch something like this and think about like time that's passed and like the things you kind of used to think were interesting about certain action movies and stuff, like the kind of things you looked for, you know, back then versus now, you know. So because this is all about the visceral kind of stuff, the visceral thrill of, you know, this revenge and these gangs and stuff. But watching it now, I don't know, we've seen so many movies like this. It's just it's charming. It's fine for what it is, but it's not super, it doesn't feel very groundbreaking. Although I guess like the title, Surf Nazis Must Die, I mean, it does deliver on that title for sure. So
yeah. Yeah, I didn't take too many notes down for this one.
Yeah. I didn't. I wrote down like, oh, like that kid, his name was Smeg. And I was like, oh, Smeg's mom is cool. She was acting pretty normal, like in a world where everything was just fucking crazy. She actually acted like a human being, kind of like.
Yeah.
She realized her kid was in some bad shit, but seemed like, oh, it's just a phase, hopefully, you know, that kind of play. She gave him shit all the time. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, it actually was kind of cool to see like a mom actually be kind of smart, like in a movie like this for once. Yeah. You know,
she's the only reasonable character.
Yeah, basically.
Except
like
for the what was the grandma's name?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I mean, she was likable. I liked pretty much all the scenes that involved her, you know, even though there weren't that many of them. The gun store scene was great. It was like a shake, like, you know, like he I don't know, it was almost like they were collaborators. Like he gave her what she wanted, you know.
Yeah.
It was such an epic moment, you know. She was gonna kill all these Nazis. We were patrolling this beach, and I don't know. I liked her attitude that she.
Yeah. I also thought she looked kind of young to be like having her being put in a home.
Yeah.
I don't
know. I agree. I think yeah, I don't know. They didn't think out the writing aspect of it too well, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, overall, I still liked it. I mean, I'm not gonna not like a movie about surf Nazis. So.
Yeah.
Any more thoughts? Or? Yeah. Cool. Yeah. All right. I'd give it, I think 2 is what I gave it. So.
Yeah, I would go with 2 as well.
I also did 2.
Cool. All right. So now last but not least, maybe? I don't know. So before we talk about this one, I do feel the need to apologize. I didn't really know what this movie was when I chose it. I didn't really know exactly what kind of movie it was going to be. All I know is that I'd seen it on lists of weird horror movies from the 80s, and it definitely is a weird horror movie from the 80s, but not really in a good way.
Yep. Within the first, it was like, I checked the time on it, 1 minute 30 seconds, and I was like, I don't want to watch the rest of this.
Yeah, I mean, this movie feels like it was made by, you know, some people somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Canada.
Yeah.
Apparently those guys were Canadian.
Yeah.
I heard some accent.
That makes sense. And they got really drunk and watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then decided to make a movie and didn't know what the heck they were doing.
Do you think it was Texas Chainsaw or Evil Dead?
Maybe both. I don't know.
I was thinking Evil Dead.
It kind of reminded me of both.
Because
Although
I think they wanted, because they were mentioning during like some of the shit, there's blood everywhere, when there really wasn't, because I just think they had like $50 to make this film, so they didn't have enough blood.
Do you know
Yeah.
the budget was actually $35,000?
Fuck no.
oh my god.
No.
Yeah.
Where did all?
I think did it all go to Amberlynn?
It had to have.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's like that's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
So I mean,
What?
so I'm trying to describe what this movie's about. But I'm having a really hard time because I'm actually not quite sure what it's about.
Yeah, even the description, like if you read online, like doesn't quite describe it.
Yeah, like I think it takes place in a post-apocalyptic world. I think, based on the fact that the first shot in the movie was like the shot of a bomb blowing up, and like
What that meant?
I mean
I just thought it was some.
I mean
intro to
as soon as I saw that opening credit, I was like, oh no,
I mean,
what
I
have I
guess-
done?
I mean, I guess
I mean,
was that before like the dream scene, like that bomb thing,
well,
like the very.
wait, was
first
that a
scene.
dream sequence? Oh wait, it was. Well, okay, so like, all right, so this guy has this wife who, because he wants her to have his baby. I mean, he makes that very clear in this movie. That phrase is said so many times in this film. I want you to have my baby. Like, I don't know why that phrase is said so many times in this movie, but it is. And like, it begins with him with his wife, and his wife is pregnant, I guess, and but she's been experimented on.
I want to go back the very first scene where I said I don't want to watch this movie was that dream sequence in
Yeah.
the very beginning where he's like they're in like a basement
Yeah,
and there's this girl with a mask on
yeah,
and that's what he was saying too. He was saying I want to put a baby in you to this lady with a mask on who then proceeds to strip down and pull out, and then she like bends over and pulls out this baby and says, "Oh, I already got this baby for you." And that was like I was like, this is making me feel all sorts of gross.
yeah.
I was like, just how it was so shitty.
Oh my god.
Like they were fucking filming off a potato or something.
I
Like,
mean, yeah.
I thought you got us to watch a snuff film at first. I was like, what have
I
you
felt-
gotten us into, man?
As soon as it started, I felt so bad. Like, oh no, what have I done? Like, what have I chosen? Like, you know, I felt horrible. And like the people, like the filming quality, the kind of cameras they were using. So I think they were using two different kind of cameras. It looked like one had to be some kind of 16 millimeter, and then the other looked like some kind of high-fi video or something. I don't know. Both of them looked awful. The contrast was pretty low. I mean, the sound quality was excruciating.
Atrocious.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was like
So,
some
like,
of the.
All ADR.
It was almost all ADR.
It was like ADR on top of ADR.
So you could hear the tracks, the
Yeah.
multiple tracks. And did you guys watch after like it ended?
Yeah.
Scenes after it?
Yeah.
Like it was like behind the scenes stuff.
Oh yeah. That's
They talked to that porn star for a bit.
Amberlynn.
which-
Yeah.
Yeah, and it had good video quality. So I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why is the rest of this movie in this quality video? And it was, I guess she was just talking about how she got the part or something.
Something
That's
like
what
that.
I was guessing. It didn't make any sense, of course, like the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And then they showed just what I assume it wasn't even bloopers. I don't know, cut stuff like that they may have just forgotten to delete off the back end of the tape. Because again, it was weird on how the video of those was actually better quality than what was shown in that film.
Yeah.
And also the audio was better. Like it was clear. I could hear who was talking and the mouths matched up with the voices. But also, you could hear the dubs of what they were ADRing even better, because you could hear the actual voices they were saying in the film, and then also the ADR over what they were saying.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
It's,
you could just put those cut scenes, because, you know, they did a couple takes of, obviously, but you should have just used those. Those were better than what you fucking threw at us.
Yeah, I mean,
unintelligible. You couldn't see what was going on 90% of the movie.
I mean, the ADR really was the sound design was, and it didn't even seem to be finished either. Like, it didn't seem like they'd like finished equalizing it or anything like that. And
or trying.
There were times where characters would deliver speeches and you couldn't hear anything they were saying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could tell they were saying things, but you couldn't hear a damn thing they were saying, you know?
And sometimes they were saying things when it didn't look like they were.
Yeah.
Again.
And then throughout, and so, okay, so the plot, like, or whatever it is, like, so his wife is like, somehow she dies after some kind of experiment thing. And I thought he died too, but I guess it turned out actually there were a couple times in the movie where I thought he had died and then it turned out he hadn't. Like, and then these two guys show up, and I guess one of them was like his brother, and like they just basically just get drunk in the living room. And like they watch TV, but you don't really ever see what's on the TV. But then what's really strange is that throughout the movie, like the movie cuts to footage of Amber Lynn, who's an adult film actress, like giving like fake news reports.
Some nonsensical news reports.
Yeah.
Did that connect at all? I wasn't sure if any of what she was saying was.
Yeah, it was like it didn't have anything to do with the movie. It just kind of appeared throughout the whole film.
Yeah, and then the couple times they cut to, and then with you, I don't know the dude's name. It was like so shittily. It was grainy as fuck. He was way off on the left side of the. Yeah. He was not centered. You couldn't hear him.
You could barely tell what was going on in this movie. Barely. I mean, but I gotta admit, it made me laugh like nonstop. I mean,
yeah.
I didn't.
I guarantee you, if you if you were watching this with a bunch of other people, like
I would feel awkward as what I'm watching. I couldn't even get over just like the weird. It was just the gross factor.
It is super gross. It's like it's really greasy and grimy. There's like puke everywhere, and I mean it's not a pretty looking movie, and it's, you know, ugly people doing ugly things.
Ugly as fuck.
And
and mustache. I just called it mustache in my notes.
And you know, I've seen some really, really bad movies. You know, like I really have seen some awful films, and I've done my fair share of like watching like shot on video films and shot on 16 millimeter horror films and stuff, because there's some that have, you know, gotten a cult following, you know, and so whenever like there's one that like gets any kind of recognition or gets talked about at all, you know, or gains any kind of notoriety, I'll watch it, you know. But this is, yeah, I mean, things even though this is I think this is probably the worst movie I've ever seen. I can't think of anything I've seen that's
hands down
more badly made.
Easily the worst movie I've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, as far as like, I don't think there's not a single thing about this movie that works. But I enjoyed it so much. Like, I think I was in the right mood when I watched it. I'll leave it at that. Yeah. And
so was I.
Yeah. And I just laughed throughout the whole thing, and I loved it so much that I bought the DVD, you know. And I looked at the DVD to see if because I was puzzled by like the way that like the news reports were edited in and all that stuff, and I thought like maybe.
Did you watch it on the DVD?
Well, no, I looked at the DVD and I just kind of checked, and they're there too.
So like after the movie, they still have those.
Yeah.
Oh, because I watched mine on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I thought it might have also been some upload of some random shit they
but
didn't mean to upload
no,
too.
but it's on the DVD, and I guess
Even-
I guess the DVD is a restoration or it's a release of the VHS release that it came out on, because a lot of these movies were filmed on tapes and then released to video stores back in the 80s. And this, was a odd import from Canada. I know somebody in Kansas who loves this movie. That was the other reason why I chose it, because I remember him distinctly telling me that this was one of his favorite movies. And the back of the DVD, like one of the special features, it says that like comments from Toby Hooper. So apparently Toby Hooper likes this movie as well, I think.
Huh.
Yeah.
I couldn't-
Do you have anything to say about it, Zach?
It's probably the worst movie I've ever seen, but I loved it. Like, I was laughing the whole time.
Oh,
It did make me feel gross as well, but
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely an experience.
I will also be buying the DVD at some point.
I will never watch this again.
At least you experience
Yeah.
things.
I'm glad I experienced it. That's why I sent you guys that picture.
Yeah.
You have experienced things. Perfect way to describe it, because I don't know if I watched anything.
Yeah.
It was motion pictures in the sense that there was a lot of moving pictures, but I can't say it was a movie because there was no coherent plot or anything. I don't know. It was just a bunch of randomly fucking gross shit, honestly. What the okay, I have so many. All right, I'm gonna go down a list of just stupid shit. They got into the thing and started drinking his brother's beer. Like, okay, you're an asshole,
Yeah.
and then they were hot. So his brother, I call him Stash. I just call him Mustache in my notes.
It's good enough.
Oh, I'm gonna take off my jacket and put it in the freezer.
And it was
Okay.
after he found a recorder
After you found the recorder.
and then laughed about it hysterically.
Yeah, again. So okay, well, let me just finish. The jacket part was like, why? That never came up again, of course. And then, so one thing I also want to hit on is why I think it's more of an Evil Dead interpretation was because of the whole bloody chainsaw.
Yeah.
I believe they wanted probably the whole house to be covered in blood, like, crazy gory like that.
Yeah.
And then just the whole fact that it was like demonic recording / whatever.
Yeah.
That was my guess of what they were going for, is Evil Dead shit.
You're probably right, honestly. I'm not even sure. I'm not sure why I thought Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Because I also think that I don't think it was that. Was that doctor even? I think it was probably that demonic shit was the source of it, not the actual experimentation.
Yeah, if that's what it even.
Yes, I don't think we have a clear. No, we didn't get a clear thing on any of this.
I mean, she does give birth technically
to
a bunch of like little little things,
or big ants.
Yeah.
That's what they fucking were.
Yeah, they didn't even like they were.
Styrofoam.
As soon as I saw them, I thought, why are there styrofoam? Oh, those are supposed to be monsters. Like even in the grainy quality.
Yeah, it was so funny. Like he bashed one in. They show him bashing one in. It was styrofoam. They didn't even like fill it with red paint or anything. It was just a bashed piece of styrofoam on him.
Looked like a children's art project.
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. And then, all right, the sound effects we mentioned, but they were some top-notch shit. You could tell they were like going hard on the sound effects. There was that one time he was wiping down, like he just killed something, and he was wiping it down for 30 seconds at least, and it was just some guy ripping fucking like paper. You could tell he was ripping paper while it was, and he made a nice sound effect when he chucked it in the bin.
Yeah, they definitely overdid it with the sound effects in this movie.
And then the funniest one I did laugh the hardest at this was, I don't know what it was at all, like what this part, I forget completely, but there was like that the doctor scene where they were torturing or some dude dismembering some guy. I don't know what was that? Was that
I'm not sure.
I have no idea what that
It kind of
was.
just happened.
Yeah. but it was when they were taking his eyeball out,
Right.
which was honestly the least gross part of this whole movie, because
Yeah.
it looked like a paper eye that they just put on. Like,
Yeah.
and they like picked it up with tweezers for like 30 seconds while some guy in a sound booth was just making kissing noises like for 30 seconds. I was just like, oh man, they didn't even try to make it remotely sound like what they were going for.
That was, yeah, no, that was hysterical. Oh man.
Okay, I still got a list.
Oh yeah.
Mustache added water to beer.
Yeah, that was gross.
That was fucking. He was like, this beer tastes like shit. Let me add some water to it. Oh yeah, okay, that's gonna make it taste better. And then like I thought that was gonna be a thing where maybe like because the brother fed him a bug, maybe the beer's tainted with some shit and the brother's a bad guy.
Oh yeah, that
didn't go anywhere. He just thought the beer tasted like shit and watered it down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, but then the whole thing with the bug, like, yeah, he like puts a bug on the guy's sandwich and then like he kind of reacts to it. Like it's like, oh, the mosquitoes, oh, and then it cuts to the guy and it's like this long awkward shot of him sitting in a chair looking happy that he just got away with something.
Yeah.
But I don't like. It was like, what? Okay, that wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah, and then so Beard Guy, that was the name of the other guy. I had Stash, Mustache, Glasses, and Beard Guy.
Yeah.
So where did Beard Guy go?
He got eaten, I think.
I don't remember. I may have been writing it down, but they didn't show it at all. They just showed Glasses getting splattered with blood randomly. They like, and I was like, what's going on here? And then he was like, no, Beard Guy, you're dead. And like what he said was, he like got sucked into the 4th or 5th dimension. I was like, really? Did he? And of course, they played the trope of off-screen character death comes back alive.
Yeah,
because I'm like, but he was sucked into 4th or 5th dimension. How did he get back?
Yeah, the dialogue in this movie, like, there's not even. It doesn't make, none of it makes any sense. I mean, it's like a totally different planet. Yeah,
and I checked at the 47-minute mark. I thought I was almost done. No, that was just like the halfway mark. Like, oh no. Oh no.
Yeah. You still got to get to the part in the basement.
Yeah, that was before that.
I'm sorry.
It took 47 minutes to get to that kind of shit. Because after that, I was like, there's this no dialogue scene of them walking around. I can't see what the fuck's happening because you can't see shit.
Yeah.
They're just walking around, no dialogue for like 10 minutes, walking around giant styrofoam ants.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, man. You're going for something, but I don't see what it is.
And then, like, how did it even end? Like, I couldn't even figure the ending out.
All I know is there was a fight in a basement.
Yeah.
Glasses got attacked from behind by an ant.
Yeah.
And then
that part.
And then his brother like smashed him with a hammer on accident.
It didn't. I mean, that ant was so big, it didn't even like. Whatever. Anyway.
Smashed his head in, and like, I thought it was. He was just like, I hammered your head in. And even in the shot,
he didn't even react.
He hit him in the back.
Oh, I hammered your head in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think even the brother Glasses said, like, oh, this isn't the kind of hammer I wanted. God damn it.
I mean, yeah, it was. There were some pretty awkward jokes in it. So.
Yep.
Anyway, I don't know. It was definitely an experience. Like I said, I didn't really know what it was when I chose it. I don't know if I would have chosen it had I known. I don't think I would have, because I would have felt bad about it. But yeah. I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Not really. I mean, I did notice about the 1 hour 5 mark. The ADR got significantly better, and I noticed
Yeah,
at least.
they must have like gotten their friend to help them or something.
Yeah,
Like, hey, you want to come help us with this movie?
Because it was actually genuinely funny and make it like it had a different tone. I noticed than the rest, and it was actually kind of funny making fun of it. Whereas the rest of the movie was just nonsensical bullshit. But I feel like somebody came in and started doing some ADR with some actual funny one-liners near the end.
And they tried to fix the movie. They tried to fix things.
Yeah. Because I even wrote down, like, am I watching someone, like, I was like, because again, I watched it on YouTube. So I was like, wait, is this just some guy on YouTube, like, doing one of those, funny dubs over shitty movies? Because it was that jarringly different. So I thought, did some random YouTuber upload this and start dubbing over it? Because it was
what I thought at first too.
Yeah,
believe it or not,
generally funny stuff at the end. It was all ADR.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, no, that's the movie. I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, when I guess they were running away from the thing, one thing I wrote down is when they were trying to climb that bridge, like Stash he couldn't make it up the bridge. Like, you could tell, like, it looked painful the way that, was it the Hunter, or no, that was the other movie. I don't remember who was even alive with Stash.
Yeah, I kind of lost track of which characters got killed in this movie.
He was trying to drag him up, like, on a bridge, and you could tell that he couldn't make it up, and it looked like he was hurting Stash, because he was, like, pulling his arm up and around like, the corner of the bridge, and then they hard cut to him being pulled up on the other side. So it was like, he could not get up that bridge.
And you could clearly see that he could easily walk around.
Yeah, it wasn't that high of a bridge. The bank was, like, right up there. It was a steep wall.
It's hysterical. So what do you guys give it on a scale of 1 to 5?
I'm gonna half a star.
I gave it. I loved it, but I can't give it higher than a 1.
I'm divided between 1 and 2. I'll go with 2 only because even though I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, and even though it is pretty much the worst film I've ever seen in my entire life, I'd watch it again.
I would. I'm going to when I get the DVD. I also wanted to, one of the reviews I saw on Letterboxd, it was, this was not made by humans.
I can believe that.
It feels like it was made by people after the apocalypse who like had nothing to work with and did the best they could trying to make a horror movie and couldn't do it because they were dying of sickness.
Oh yeah, and what was that bullshit at the beginning with, like, it was Things Symphony 9?
I don't know.
Was
Again,
that, like, did they get some fucking composer to make them nice little, like, what the fuck are they?
I guess they just wanted to, let us know what the song title was, which I don't know. Oh, go on.
I was gonna say that's another thing. Like, there was music over like the whole movie that was kind of annoying.
The music was like, it was like drone music trying to sound like pop music
through the whole thing.
Yeah. It was like going to a carnival and everything's broken, and yet it's still playing music. The music was awful.
You mean the whole movie or just the music?
Well,
everything about that movie.
The music was awful in the same way that the movie was.
The music was probably just to cover up that they didn't have any real sound.
Yeah, probably, because there was pretty much no real sound in it. I mean,
there was probably no mic set up at all. It was probably just going off whatever was with the camera.
Maybe they accidentally spilled like beer on the recording equipment.
That's possible.
I mean, anyway,
it seems like they probably just filmed it in a kitchen and a living room.
Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, this is definitely not one of the best films to come out of the 80s. But it did come out the year I was born, so 1989. All right, cool. So you guys want to pick movies for next time?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys want to go first? I haven't actually decided on one yet. So. Okay.
I chose Galaxy Invader.
I have
Okay.
not seen that.
You haven't?
I haven't seen it either.
It's 85. Nice. I haven't seen it either.
All right. Yeah, let's do it.
Galaxy Invader. All right.
All right. Galaxy Invader. All right. Do you have one?
Yeah, but I'm not sure about it.
Okay.
I wanted to do a part 2.
Okay.
Since it's December, I want to do Silent Night, Deadly Night part 2.
Oh, okay.
But you kind of need to see the first one, so I don't know if I should pick that one or not.
You could
Or
choose. You could choose like both Silent Night, Deadly Night 1 and Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. I mean, wasn't really, I don't think it was too big an issue to do Thankskilling, like in addition to the 3 that we chose.
If you guys want,
I mean, I don't know. It's up to you.
I can just do the first one if that's. But the second one's more like it's funnier.
I'd watch just the second one.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
We can do part 2.
Okay. So we doing 1 and 2, or should we just do 2?
We can just do 2. You just touch on the first one if you want.
All right. Yeah.
I actually saw the first one like not too long ago, so it doesn't really ultimately matter to me. So.
Cool.
So I chose one that I don't know if this is the right decision because again I don't know anything about it and that didn't really work out too well this last time. But I'm gonna give it another shot.
I mean, that's how I'm choosing my movies.
Oh, okay.
Trying to get the one I don't know anything about.
All right. Well, this one I'm gonna take a gamble. This one's called Terror on Tour, and it is a horror movie that takes place at a rock concert, I believe, which
Ooh,
sounds interesting.
haven't heard of that. Yeah.
I'll watch it, and I believe it is on YouTube. I believe so.
All right. Cool.
All right. Excellent. All right. Cool. Well, have a good night, folks.
Gobble gobble, bitches.
Happy Thanksgiving. Cool. All right. So
You know what's funny too is I was listening to a podcast today and they mentioned Thankskilling.
yeah.
Yeah, because they were doing a movie review, and they said the only other movie I can think of that's Thanksgiving related is Thankskilling, and then they just said gobble gobble bitches.
Well, there is
They did the Garfield Thanksgiving special.
I just thought of a horror movie that's a Thanksgiving horror movie. It's called Blood Freak, and it was it's an X-rated Christian propaganda picture that was made in the 70s. It's an anti-drug film, and it's about a guy who he smokes some kind of experimental marijuana and then mutates into a killer turkey, basically, like a giant poultry monster.
That sounds awesome.
I don't know if I'd call it awesome, but one thing that is interesting about it, though, is that one of the actors in it was a real amputee, and there's a death scene that involves his limb getting chopped off, which sounds potentially interesting because he's played by an actual amputee, and they managed to fuck up the effect. Like, they actually managed to fuck up literally the easiest thing to do is to cut off the leg of somebody that doesn't even have a leg, and they fuck it up. But I won't say how because, maybe we'll want to watch it. Or you could just probably look the whole thing up. I mean,